Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel F1 Aerodynamics. Today we are going to review the RedBull Racing resume or CV that I used for my application that eventually got me in. Building a CV can be notoriously hard because you have to take care of three factors. Yes, not two, three factors. You have to take care of the HR and your future manager. But before that, you need to get through artificial intelligence. Let's understand how. So let us imagine that there is an aerodynamics position open at an F1 team and that there are 10,000 applications that the HR needs to go through. Obviously, the HR cannot go through 10,000 applications for every job position, and there must be a tool that empowers the HR to select the top 20% of applications that they can then forward to the managers. What is this tool? In this present era, that's artificial intelligence or machine learning. So how does artificial intelligence and machine learning help the HR? Let's get on to that then. So you must have seen the Workday commercial, right? While watching Formula One. And Formula One teams use Workday and PeopleSoft and platforms like these that have inbuilt artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms built into them for specific positions. And these algorithms are either keyword based, grammar based, or statistical based. Keyword algorithms are quite simple, to be honest. They basically take the job description, find keywords, skim through your CV, and check how many keywords match and kind of give you a rating from that. Grammatical algorithms are also quite simple. They use simple grammatical rules and kind of see what kind of vocabulary do you have and what is the impact of the words that you use and kind of give you a rating from there. And statistical algorithms are the most complex one. What they do is they kind of read through all your timelines and all your numbers and dates and also make sense of numbers combined with words. Like I performed 2 aero track tests, or I kind of gained 5% improvement in aerodynamic downforce, to see the amount of impact that your statement has and kind of gives you a rating from that. So I'll go through my CV so that it's like an example for y'all into how you can try and improve your chances to kind of get through the AI, so that get through the first round to make your application seen by the HR. So let's jump onto my CV, and first we're going to jump onto the job description for the student placement program this year. And you can see over here the first paragraph talks about what your role will be and what kind of prerequisites you need in the second paragraph, and the third paragraph talks about the key attributes. And teams really spend a lot of time trying to make this up so that the algorithms work efficiently and effectively to select the top 20% candidates. So you can see that there are some keywords here like aerodynamic data, wind tunnel, CFD, working with a team to develop aerodynamic design concepts and create geometry using Siemens NX, which is again a keyword. There is other keywords like CFD analysis, analysis methods, aerodynamic development, planning and operational support of the wind tunnel, problem solving, communication skills. When it comes to prerequisites, there is like either aeronautical or mechanical degree. And here's something really important. They've written down aerodynamic principles such as conservation laws, potential flow, viscosity, transition and recovery, which is super important because at this point you already know what questions are going to come up. If your interviewer is going to question you about fundamentals, this is going to be it. And also key attributes such as positive can-do attitude and willingness to learn skills. Obviously you can put all of these down the same way, but you'll be found. The way you're supposed to show key attributes is somehow kind of hinting them or implying them in the background from the projects that you've done. So more about that a bit later. So keeping this in mind, let's look at my CV, which is 2 years old. Keep in mind, the job description changes. They don't keep it the same. They kind of modify it slightly. So let's look into my CV. And it's quite straightforward and simple. I kind of mention all these keywords like applied aerodynamics, vehicle performance, turbulence model, CFD, wind tunnel testing methodology, trackside aero testing, aero mapping, bachelor's in aerospace engineering, master's in advanced automotive engineering, And to get a high score in grammar, I kind of use different words such as coordinated, mentored, developed, pre and post test analysis. So this is already adding to my key attributes. You see, when I use words like mentored, coordinated, evaluated, validated, it's telling you a lot about the person already. And that's really key and that's really important. And then the third technical skill set section kind of literally pours down the software names that would be there in the job description, such as CATIA V6, Star CCM Plus. Now, I've not written Siemens NX in it because my job description back then did not have Siemens NX, so I did not write it. But this is what I mean by keywords attributes. So this AI algorithm is gonna scan my entire document and say how many times do the keywords pop up and how much mismatch or how much match is there of keywords with the job description to your resume. So this is basically the AI algorithm talking to your application and saying, based on our algorithms, this application has this score, has this score, and the rank is among one of in the top 200, let's say. And the HR is literally going to look at the top 200 or 300 application and skim read through it. So what does the HR look for in a CV? Let's check that out next. So the HR is a funny one because the HR is going to spend around 30 seconds looking at your CV. But keep in mind that for Formula One teams, there are specialized HRs. Like there's one HR looking at the entire aero department, for example. So she's quite familiar with the keywords that she's supposed to look out for based on successful applications that have been before. And what is really important when it comes to the HR round, or not the HR round per se, but just making it easy for the HR to like your CV, is the formatting and the information delivery. As I said, you've got 30 seconds. How can you make an impact is the question. So let's look at my CV and let's look into what am I doing here. So you can see that in terms of formatting and delivery, you have my work experience, technical skill sets, that is all being highlighted quite well. And additionally, you have the topic in blue and then my role and my position in black. And you can see quite quickly that I am giving the HR all the relevant information that she wants. I'm telling her that I've worked in the Formula student team for 2 years, in which initially I was the front wing aero designer and then I got promoted to the aerodynamics team leader. This is already telling her about my teamwork skills, my people skills, and also my technical competence. Also, I'm clearly highlighting that I've worked for Bell Flight as an aerodynamics and flight test performance engineer, which kind of gives me some pedigree in terms of the quality of asset that I am for that company. And HR is like this. And also I dive into the workshops and the individual technical projects that I've done, which kind of gives the HR a feeling of how far and beyond that I've gone from my academics itself. And I tell her that, hey, I've done CFD analysis and design optimization workshop, trackside testing and aero setup optimization workshops. I've done a workshop in the wind tunnel, and I've also taken up research projects at Bell Flight. And then I'm telling her what kind of a person I am. I'm telling her I have hobbies, that I like to spend time in nature. I love human psychology. So it's telling her that I'm a people person, and also that I've gone for competitions and I've won some of them. She can see that I've participated in competitive competitions like the National INE Innovative Design Project, and I've got first prize in it. I've participated in the SAE projects, in which I've also won the first prize. And it's also showing her that I have a Team Excellence Award, which kind of, again, reiterates the fact that I'm a team player. And not just that, I've also highlighted my community initiatives, which tells her that I like to give back and I'm also a people person. If you think about the HR, you're gonna have 3 tick marks: people, personality, and technical skill sets. And if you're able to get these 3 tick marks, you're pretty much done for the next round. The HR is gonna forward your application. So, at this point, you need to have 3 tick marks on your application for the HR to kind of push your CV to your manager. The first is people skills, the second is personality, and the third one is your technical skill set. So if the HR gets a feeling from your CV that you qualify or you can tick mark all these 3 domains, the HR will most likely take your CV and give it to a specialist for an interview. So let's try and see, what does a specialist look for, right? And I've put in Adrian Newey there because everybody loves him, and that's his classic photo of him with his drawing board. I can tell you that he spends quite a bit of time, especially like late evenings, on his board. He still loves it. Complete legend. So this is where your technical details and your fundamentals are really going to come into picture. Like, you can lie your CV through the first and second round, but at this point there's no going back. And the way you explain these technical details and fundamentals will reflect a lot of your personality. How much enthusiasm do you have for the topics that you're going to speak about? What is your passion level for these topics? How much above and beyond have you gone to kind of pursue those interests? And how much struggle and how much failure you've actually gone through. And these are all key aspects in my opinion. So let's look at my CV and let's see what a recruiter would look at it like. And immediately when I look at it, I say, okay, this guy's written a lot of aerodynamic topics down, such as turbulence models, aero mapping, wind tunnel testing methodology, aero data analysis, correlation and rebalancing. And these are all topics that are quite specific to racing cars. So immediately it makes an impression on me. And he has had work experience. He worked again as an aerodynamics team leader, which he was promoted to, but initially he was working as a front wing aero designer. And then I get into details as a specialist. So I've coordinated 2 aero track tests with FlowWiz and pressure tabs to correlate data with simulations. So the idea is that the moment the specialist reads the details of your position, he wants to know more about it. Like, he wants to have a conversation with you based on the initial impression that you leave. And what's really important is that when you come for an interview, he's going to take this up and he's going to kind of, ask you questions on that. For example, mentored open fork hour model development and improvement of the Star CCM Plus model. So he's going to ask you questions like, how did you improve the Star CCM Plus model? And you'll probably have to give good replies like, I introduced MRF zones to try and capture the tire wake. We introduced simulations to try and capture yaw conditions and roll conditions and pitch conditions and understand the sensitivity to that. He's going to ask you questions such as, okay, you developed 3 aero designs for the front wing. What was your philosophy of design and why did you choose that philosophy? We're going to have a discussion based around what you have written in your CV. So that's really important. And now if you dive to my workshops and the technical projects that I've taken part in, he's going to see that, okay, I've done workshops on CFD, on track testing and on wind tunnel, and definitely there are going to be questions depending on what I have written down, or even fundamental questions regarding these topics. You can also see I've worked at Bell Flight and I've written down my projects and what was my role in that project, and definitely you can expect questions like, for example, modeling rotor hub wake interaction with empennage of the Bell 525 helicopter, in which I investigated the rotating hub flow structure under 4 steady state conditions. So an interview would start with, what is the steady state condition? Okay, what were the 4 steady state conditions that you analyzed and how did the rotor hub wake change with this flow conditions? And you have to explain this because he's expecting answers on questions on projects that you've worked. As I said, you can write fancy things and get through the first 2 rounds, but eventually people get stuck here. It's okay if you write something simple. People look for fundamentals being strong, but ensure that you'll be able to answer these questions when they pop up. And what is really important is, you can see for technical rounds, there are honestly 2 types of conversations you'll have. One are tech detail driven, which is basically your CV being explained in much more detail and the person wanting to know what kind of projects that you've worked on. And the second type of people are just fundamentalists, and they're not going to give a damn about what you worked on, and they're just going to sit down in an interview and ask you, how is downforce generated, or how does a front wing work, or how does a diffuser work? And I've seen this happen to me, and they're going to ask you why and why and why and why. And normally people get stuck at the second why. So if you are in the category of people that can answer the 3rd and the 4th why of a fundamental question, immediately you're standing out to be at least in the top 10 candidates. And the way you answer these whys also kind of reflect your personality, and that's really what the manager and the specialist is looking for. So yeah, these are the key takeaways and how a CV should be able to attack all the 3 players that are involved in the decision making of your application. Hopefully this video's helped you in trying and understanding how you can kind of play the players involved in the application process, there's only so much you can play them. Nothing can beat at the end of the day your knowledge, your ability, and your ability to communicate thoughts to the three players, including the AI. Yes, you need to communicate to it. This is the first video of the playlist that I'm making, how to get into Formula One. If you want me to go through your CV and have a one-to-one counseling session, write me an email at the email address in the description below. Also, if you've liked this video, give me a like, and if you're looking forward to my playlist, want to know more about aerodynamics, or want to follow my race weekend analysis, give me a subscribe. This is Shubham, and you are watching F1 Aerodynamicist.